Welcome to ETH Daily, a daily briefing on the latest in Ethereum. Here's your latest for Tuesday, June 23, 2026. The Ethereum Foundation cuts 54 employees. ETH Labs introduces its independent R&D lab. Bastion outlines the EF's execution roadmap. Aztec achieves Stage 2 rollup status, and an ENS Treasury delegation proposal sparks controversy. ETH Daily sponsorships are now open. Reach over 10,000 Ethereum native subscribers every weekday. Learn more at ethdaily.io/ads. The Ethereum Foundation has cut its headcount by 54 employees, representing approximately 20% of its total staff, as part of a reorganization. The move was made as part of a recent Treasury Management Policy update, which set a new goal to reduce annual spend to a long-term target of 5% per year by 2030. That change resulted in a hefty 40% budget cut this year alone. The Ethereum Foundation is providing departing personnel severance alongside small transition grants to assist with the transition. Most departing team members are anticipated to remain contributors to Ethereum through roles in teams outside the Ethereum Foundation. As part of the reorganization, the Ethereum Foundation restructured its personnel into 5 clusters. The protocol layer focused on hardening and scaling the Ethereum core protocol. The Axis layer focused on making state easily available. The user layer focused on real-world scenarios. The community layer focused on public messaging, and the institutional layer focused on institutions and policy coordination. Vitalik pointed out the trade-offs from the budget cuts and new structure. He said the purpose of the multi-client model will shift from client redundancy to specialization, and protocol security will be transitioned toward AI-assisted formal verification to reduce the resource requirements of shipping upgrades. The EF Privacy and Scaling Explorations research team is also winding down, and DEF CON conferences will become smaller scale. In the long term, the Ethereum Foundation is targeting a soft, lean and done protocol cycle that maintains a high bar for introducing new features to the network. A group of 5 former Ethereum Foundation EF researchers and core contributors introduced the launch of ETH Labs, an independent nonprofit research and development organization focused on accelerating Ethereum's institutional and developer adoption. The new lab is co-founded by Ansgar Dietrichs, Barnaby Minot, Casper Schwartz-Schilling, Josh Rudolph, and Julian Ma, who have spent years guiding Ethereum through its most critical protocol upgrades. ETH Labs is backed by prominent ecosystem entities, including Bitmine Immersion Technologies, SharpLink, Anchorage, Octant, Joe Lubin, and SNZ. The launch represents a shift toward a multi-node governance model, as the EF refocused its mandate following several high-profile departures earlier this year, including Minot's step back from core protocol leadership. The team aims to bridge the gap between actual network usage and core protocol integration, working directly with wallets, L2 rollups, and developers to translate ecosystem needs into core standards and shipped products. The group's immediate research roadmap is centered on engineering requirements for scaling institutional activity, including faster settlement, robust cross-chain messaging, mainnet capacity expansion, and preserving the monetary properties of ETH. ETH Labs is currently recruiting developer and researcher talent to add to its lean team. Ethereum Foundation Interim Executive Director Bastion Awe outlined the Foundation's execution roadmap, detailing how defensive strategies are being translated into protocol actions. Awe announced that the Foundation is shifting major financial relationships and employee compensation toward ETH and native stablecoins to live within the system's operational constraints. The roadmap positions preventing maximal extractable value, or MEV, capture as a core protocol priority rather than a peripheral concern. Awe flagged that upcoming initiatives like Fork Choice Enforced Inclusion Lists, or FOSIL, and Enshrined Protocol-Level Proposer-Builder Separation, or EPBS, will require whole system coordination to lower barriers to validation and block construction. On privacy, the Ethereum Foundation is prioritizing unconditional on-chain privacy defaults over opt-in compliance constraints, to secure transaction pathways at the access layer. The Ethereum Foundation is also accelerating its timeline for a post-quantum cryptographic migration to harden Ethereum's settlement layer against future institutional and algorithmic risks. ENS Labs COO and ENS Foundation board member Catherine Wu introduced a governance proposal to transfer operational management and treasury custody to an expanded ENS Foundation. The proposed restructuring claims to keep protocol-level control with token holders, including the authority to upgrade smart contracts and remove directors. Its most controversial clause seeks to transfer custody of approximately $400 million from the ENS DAO to a 5-seat foundation board. The proposed board includes ENS founder Nick Johnson, executive director Alex Urbelis, and 3 independent directors who will receive 40,000 USDC per year. The transition has sparked an intense debate, as Johnson recently self-delegated 3.1 million ENS tokens, which represents 3.1% of the total ENS supply, but nearly 50% of the active ENS voting power. Johnson's vote alone is enough to meet quorum and approve the proposal. The second highest delegator, Jeff Lau, has just 190k ENS in voting power. Rotkey founder and ENS delegate Lefteris Karapetsis raised the alarm on X, stating, "Someone is trying to steal its treasury. It's my job to raise the alarm at this point." Johnson replied, "Others have sold their tokens or stopped participating. I haven't because I believe in the future of ENS." Karapetsis criticized the move, framing it as a founder unilaterally deciding to kill the DAO and alienate external builders. And lastly, Aztec achieved Stage 2 rollup decentralization per L2B standards, after its on-chain governance revoked ownership of the core rollup smart contract. The change makes the critical contract code and configuration parameters completely immutable, eliminating the need for long governance delays. Consequently, the latest Aztec upgrade reduced the governance delay from 30 days to just 2 days. Users retain the ability to withdraw assets at any time via an immutable on-chain escape hatch. In other news, Geth releases version 1.17.4 of its execution client. Lighthouse releases high-priority version 8.2.0 of its consensus client, and Base announces 13 MCP skill plugins, including one from OpenSea. This was a roundup of today's top news stories in Ethereum. You can support this podcast by subscribing and following us at ETH Daily. Also subscribe to our newsletter at ethdaily.io.